St. Paul, Minnesota, we had some thunderstorms rolling through and a lightning strike on this camera earlier. I think we might be just past the time where we might be able to catch some lightning from this camera, but some showers and thunderstorms in the vicinity to start your day.
Yeah, they sort of split around the metro. Sometimes that just happens, and of course
It's always what happens to me,
yeah,
anyway.
Of course. It never hits my house. Well, it hits the neighbor's house all the time.
Exactly. That's how it goes. Yeah, the neighbor who doesn't like storms gets the storm. Me, who's sitting there like, hey, give me some lightning, I don't get anything.
I saw some lightning off I-70 driving back out of the mountains yesterday.
Well,
so
lucky you.
Fun.
I just got a few raindrops.
Yeah, well, there you go. Let's take a look at radar where the raindrops are falling right now and those lightning strikes. We see we've got a couple areas of some heavy rainfall and some widespread light to moderate rain. So let's take a look here across the Minnesota area right now where we do have some of those thunderstorms active this morning where some pretty strong storms, again, not yet severe, but we are looking at the chance in this area for seeing some severe in the days to come over the next couple of days. So taking a look a little bit closer towards the Twin Cities, we see some of those lightning strikes. We'll put on that lightning counter as well, about 30 over the last 10 minutes or so. So not intense lightning, but looking at a little bit closer at that local radar site, we see just to the south of the I-35 corridor, we've got some heavy lightning. We'll turn that off just to get a better picture of some of these thunderstorms. Again, just some isolated updrafts, not really all that much, but just to the south of the Montgomery area, about to cross I-35. So if you're coming up from the south heading towards the Twin Cities area, you might run into some heavy rain on the interstate. So keep that in mind. Of course, slow things down a little bit as you drive across the central part of that highway corridor. So taking a look at parts of Kansas where we also see some heavy rain showers across the southern part. We've seen around Arkansas City this morning, very heavy rain in that area as well. We can take a look at the local Wichita radar site and just get a better picture of some of that heavy rainfall. Again, Arkansas City, you saw some heavy lightning as well recently, but it's mostly moved out of your area. Looking at the triple threat product from Barron, we see just the potential for some maybe small hail within that, some of those purpler colors that you see. But turning back on the national radar, let's take a zoom out. Let's take a look over the last several hours, because like I said, we saw some thunderstorms just around the Denver area yesterday. So if we pull this back over the last 12 hours, let's just do this manually here. We'll pull it back and we'll go back all the way with the composite radar because that shows where all the heavy rain is that is in the upper levels, a little bit of the virga if it's starting to fall and dries out as it does. So we saw some of those showers around the high plains there in Colorado. Those turned into those thunderstorms that we're seeing in the Central Plains overnight. So this is around 1 a.m. We see just to the north of the Dodge City area some thunderstorms turning into that line of thunderstorms around that I-35 corridor in central Kansas there, and then turning into the lines that we have right now. So sometimes in the summertime we see this kind of thing where we have some daytime thunderstorms in the plains of Colorado, sometimes right along the Front Range, and then it turns into a line of thunderstorms overnight. Of course, that can sometimes turn into severe weather, but fortunately that hasn't been the case today. Where we have seen severe weather, Washington, D.C., just yesterday we had a lot of heavy thunderstorms coming through.
So let's send things over to Kit to talk about that northeastern threat. We did have a lot of wind reports, and you just caught on to a few more tornado reports that were filled in on that map behind you.
Yeah, of course, whenever we get those reports in, sometimes they have to be verified or analyzed before they are put onto our map. And here in eastern Virginia, we've seen several more tornado reports here just to the north of the Richmond area, along the line of many thunderstorms that we saw with some pretty intense winds. Look at these. We got up to near 70 mile per hour winds, 60 mile per hour winds or so. 58 is that severe threshold. That's what we saw in Richmond, Virginia. So certainly something that we have to keep our eyes open for. Now, the severe outlook for today, we do have that chance for severe weather across New England into parts of Maine as well. That's mostly wind and hail, the threats for that. The tornado threat isn't quite as much of the threat. But let's take a look at those impacts because wind is going to be the primary impact we see across New England. Hail will also be present. The tornado threat, it's not zero. We can't always rule out the threat for a tornado, but it's not as major as the others. Then, of course, flash flooding could be possible with any of those thunderstorms. Behind this, though, temperatures are going to cool down into the 50s across some of the area, looking around the tri-state region. Again, wind is the primary threat, but flooding is a little bit of a higher threat than off towards New England. New York City, you could see some of those thunderstorms rolling through midday into early afternoon, clearing out by the evening time. Taking a look with the forecast, with the fronts on now, we've got that cold front that's helping helping initiate these thunderstorms. Behind it, though, we'll have a little bit cooler air coming in, so that will be nice. But look at all those thunderstorms that erupt there later on as the evening there, Saturday into Sunday. But a lot of very clear skies as we start off the early morning hours there on Sunday. How much rainfall? Not a lot, maybe some places up to about an inch or so. At best, most of us are going to be getting about a ½ inch. But where we do see those thunderstorms going over the same spots, that's going to lead to that threat of some flash flooding here in western Mass, most of Connecticut, into eastern Pennsylvania, Scranton, Allentown, some of those areas as well. Over the next few days for Concord, New Hampshire, we're looking at temperatures getting up to the 80s here. So we'll start off in the 70s, 80s the next couple of days, and then cooling things down as we head through the rest of the week. Yeah, right around the Charleston area, always a nice beach area there in South Carolina with a few of those clouds coming in and some nice easy waves as well. Now it's going to be warm across the southeast in the days to come, especially here for Memorial Day weekend, but it's going to be mostly dry. High pressure is moving in. We'll still see some showers, especially across Florida and some of the coastal regions though. There's that high pressure coming into the southeast. We see a little bit of return of the sea breeze front there across the Atlantic coast, but overall, things stay inland pretty dry. A few clouds here and there, but then across Georgia, maybe some showers there as we get into Monday. Whatever rain does come is only going to maybe bring a quarter to a ½ inch of rainfall. It's not going to be a lot and definitely not a flood threat for these areas. Looking in Columbia, your highs are going to be into the 90s as we get Sunday into Monday. So today is on the cooler side in the upper 80s. Birmingham, Alabama, you're going to be into the upper 80s in the days to come. Across North Carolina, we're looking at temperatures today getting up to 83 degrees in Charlotte, Asheboro at 80 degrees, and Raleigh at 82. Out in New Bern, you're looking at a high of around 85 degrees. Cooler in the mountains, but down in Georgia, we're looking at temperatures in Atlanta getting into the 80s and 90s for the week ahead. Columbia, South Carolina, your 7-day forecast here, we're getting into the mid-90s by the middle of the week, so it is going to be on the warm side of things over the days to come. Across the deep south, mostly in Alabama is where we've seen some of the heavy rain over the last couple of days. Mississippi has been dry, that line right there on the state border. Lows since midnight around this area. We've been mostly in the 50s this morning, but some 60s the farther south and east you go. Today we're looking at highs around the 80s in this area. So down to New Orleans up to 86 degrees, 84 for Birmingham. So it's going to be warm, but it's going to be even warmer in the days to come. We've got that high pressure to our northeast that's bringing in more of the warm air from the south, so that's going to help us warm up, and it clears us out, and that's going to help a lot more sunshine come in. So we might still see some coastal showers there across the lowlands there of parts of Mississippi, Alabama, panhandle of Florida. It's going to be just light showers though, and again, we'll see some more thunderstorms down into Florida. Over the next few days, Jackson, you're looking at temperatures getting into the 90s, a few degrees above average. Mobile, we're looking at temperatures, again, right around average for the days to come. Memphis, Tennessee, your 7-day forecast, we're looking to get back to 90 degrees after Memorial Day, and it'll be warm for a couple of days, a slight cool down later on in the week after some showers come through as well. Birmingham, your 7-day forecast, we've got 80s for most of the 7-day forecast, but by Wednesday and Thursday, we're back into the 90s there. Now across the eastern Gulf, around Florida and the Gulf shores, we see temperatures are going to be in mostly the upper 80s, but near 90 there around the Tampa Bay area. That's going to be nice and warm. Now, as we get into summertime, we're getting that daily heat. We're getting those daily thunderstorms across the peninsula of Florida. So we'll expect to see that basically every day over the next several days. For our forecast over the next few days here across Tampa, you're going to be in the 90s, so you're on the warm side, but a little bit cooler down in Miami, only in the 80s. Tampa, Florida, your 7-day forecast, daily storms, and every day in the 90s. Of course, this has been the Eastern Regional Forecast, but you can get the Central and West at 30 and 50 past every hour. Yeah, Des Moines, where we could see that chance for those storms moving through, just right on your periphery, especially into western Iowa, and then right there in Wichita as well. So looking here, we've got the severe outlook for Sunday, where we've got the enhanced risk here across parts of Nebraska, into South Dakota, Minnesota, and Iowa. The slight risk around that, the marginal risk reaching all the way back to the western slope there of Colorado. Now, looking here at the wind potential, this is the primary threat for that enhanced risk that we've got. So that greatest threat for the high winds all the way from the Tri-Cities, Norfolk, up to around Sioux Falls and the St. Cloud area up in Minnesota as well. Now, here across Nebraska, central Nebraska, around Kearney, Grand Island, Hastings, out towards Broken Bow, Norfolk, and Sioux City, up to the Siouxland area, that's where we're looking at the chance for winds very strong. So this is the significant parameter we talk about for winds. That's 74 miles per hour or stronger, so that can cause more widespread damage. 2-inch hail is where we call significant for the hail potential here, and we see that again for many of the same regions around the Tri-Cities, a little farther south even, and then up through Siouxland and into the parts of southwestern Minnesota. Now notice how long duration we have some of those large hail potential. 2 inches in diameter or larger can cause a lot of widespread damage. Now we also have that tornado potential, so we've still got many different threats with this system. Again, Tri-Cities up to Siouxland is where we see the primary threat, and then more of a broad lower potential there off into Minnesota. As we go through the forecast here, we've got that front there. We're looking at the chance for right around here. We've got a lot of isolated cells, so that could be where we see some of that rotation. Rotation can help produce tornadoes, of course, but it can also help sustain an updraft and keep those hailstones very high in that storm. Keep them aloft, keep them growing. So that's why we're looking at the chance for very large hail with these storms. So as those continue to lift north, we'll see maybe some overnight wind threats here as we see some of the bowing segments, and then even a little bit of a meso-low it looks like it's developing. So just a small scale circulation that keeps some of those thunderstorms energized. Then as we head into Monday, a very similar threat, but just a little bit farther east as that cold front pushes through. It's a very slow moving system, so that enhanced risk for Monday exists Fargo to near the Twin Cities, down through Lincoln and down towards Wichita as well. And that's where we're looking at the chance for significant severe. Now, of course, this is a little farther out, so we're going to have to hone over the next couple of days what types of severe weather are going to be the most significant, whether it's hail, wind, tornado threat, of course. So always stay up to date with the latest forecast information, because then as we get into Tuesday, our day 4 outlook, we already have that chance for severe weather here across the Central Plains. As far as rainfall totals, we could see many places seeing some heavy rainfall, 2 to 3 inches or so, and into the northern plains, northern Minnesota, we could see the chance for that flash flooding the greatest.
Thunderstorms, one of our top weather headlines in a focused area of the plains over the course of the next 3 days in the holiday weekend. Bringing in meteorologist Kit Cloninger and Steve Glazier here with you. Hope you're having a good weekend so far.
Yeah, and we're also talking about heat and snow in the end of the month of May.
Did you see that, really? Snow?
Yes, snow.
Still? We
Snow.
can't get rid of this yet, Kit?
Into parts of the Rockies, the
Wow.
Cascades. We've got a low pressure system coming in to the Pacific Northwest right now. That's going to bring in some extra moisture and the upper levels, some energy for severe weather as well.
And before we get there, we'll also let you know about a new area of potential development in the tropics on the southern end of the Gulf of Mexico. Still a long way out, but we're going to let you know about it this hour.
Yeah, we'll have to keep an eyes open on that because it might move into the Gulf and do something else tricky. So we're getting very close to that season, of course, for the Atlantic. But let's get to the right now on Viper radars. We've got the picture here across the country. We've got a few areas of some heavy showers and some thunderstorms as well, especially into some of the northern plains. Let's take a look off towards Minnesota and Wisconsin and the Upper Peninsula as well, as we've got some of those showers moving across Lake Superior right now into the northwoods of Wisconsin as well. We can put on the lightning counter and see if we've had any strikes recently. Not a whole lot. Earlier this morning, they were more intense thunderstorms across southern parts of Minnesota, just south of the Twin Cities area, but they have weakened significantly now, and we see just a few bolts of lightning just over the last little bit. We'll go ahead and clear that off and take a little bit of a broader sense across the northeast as well, where we see a little bit more rainfall here. Now, it's right along a low pressure system that's starting to move out. The latest position of that low was somewhere around here in New York State, just in the lower part of the New York State there. So we've got the cold front that's there off the coast of the eastern U.S. there with a bit of a warm front, occluded front combo through this area here. So most of the severe chances are going to be right around that low pressure as it moves to the northeast over the next several hours today, and that's going to be that focus. Of course, we'll get you those details in a little while, but let's take a look off towards the Pacific Northwest, where we've also seen some moisture coming in right there around the Snake River Valley, northern Utah. We've got some heavy rainfall as well around Pocatello. We see just from that radar site scanning out over some of those mountains. We've got a few gaps in between there. So right there around the I-15 corridor, we are likely seeing some rainfall here, but sometimes a mountain can obstruct that radar beam and we can't really see what's in there. So of course we'll likely see a little bit of rain here and also some snowfall around the Wind River range here into northwestern parts of Wyoming. We're looking at a chance for some heavy snowfall into the Absaroka Mountains up here in southern parts of Montana as well. Very heavy snowfall there to come. But fortunately right now, things are mostly clear. And then up here into the plains of northeastern Montana, also some heavy showers moving through. Now, of course, Boston, you're going to be under that threat for severe weather later on today. So we want to get to those details right now.